Hello and welcome to the National Debate. I'm Madhavdas along with my colleague Karishma Singh. We'll be bringing you a debate on a subject that's of equal national concern, although a little different in tone from the debates that we normally have. Because viewers, it's a new dawn in Indian cricket as some of Indian cricket's greatest players are in fact moving on. In fact, it's going to be a new stage as far as their careers are concerned. And we are going to be bringing you what really all of this will mean, not just in terms of India's stupendous success in Barbados as far as the T20 World Cup is concerned, but also in terms of the new captain, the new coach, and all the chemistry, the past experiences. We're going to be analyzing all of that and looking at what really all of this means for Indian cricket. Let's quickly take you across to the first set of graphics that we are on with our screen over here. Before I introduce our guest, let's quickly bring up on screen the first set of graphics that we have, and we're talking about Gautam Gambhir, his role as IPL mentor. He, of course, is taking charge as coach. We have, of course, as far as his Lucknow performance of 2022 is concerned, the league stage was third. The result was lost in the eliminator. He qualified to the playoffs in the debut season as the mentor there. Let's bring in the next slide. Now, this is, of course, as far as 2023 Lucknow's performance is concerned. The league stage was third, lost in the eliminator, qualified to playoffs for the second time in a row. Let's get in the next slide as well. And this is where, in fact, there's been recent success for Gambhir as coach. Kolkata 2024, the league stage was first. The third win for KKR over there. The result was they were the champions and won the third IPL title after a 10-year drought. Now, this is as far as Gautam Gambhir's record as IPL mentor is concerned. How much of that will have a factor in terms of his performance as coach of the India side? And for that, let's quickly introduce our panel. Apart from Karishma, with me, we have Vijay Lokapally, consulting editor of Sports Star, joining us here in the studio. Arun Pandey, of course, is ex-first-class cricketer and, of course, producer of MS Dhoni, the movie. We have Gulu Ezekiel, senior sports journalist, joining us. Joining us from outside, we have Amey Khurasia, who's a former cricketer. Ajay Ratra, former cricketer, is with us. Sanjay Bhardwaj is Gautam Gambhir's childhood coach, who's joining us from Bhopal. And Jatin Sapru is a sports broadcaster, of course, a very, very well-known face as far as Indian cricket and on television is concerned. But let me start with you first, Vijay Lokapally. Of course, there's been recent success for Gautam Gambhir, but he brings along with him a slightly different style, say, for instance, than Dravid had. What really are you looking at in terms of Gautam's immediate challenges? Of course, there are big exits also happening at the same time. Rohit Sharma is going to be moving on. You have Virat Kohli moving on. What really do you see as Gautam Gambhir's immediate challenges as the coach?
Obviously, the tour coming up in Sri Lanka, it will be a challenge and not a big one because you have ready replacements. True, Virat Kohli and Rohit and Ravindra Jadeja are not there, but I expect the team which has been picked to deliver. But his biggest challenge will come when the team goes to Australia, because that is a big test, and I'm sure Gautam also knows. He's been through it, and I have faith in him because he's a very hard taskmaster. It's very difficult to please him. I'm sure he'll deliver.
All right.
Well, yes, absolutely. And I also want to ask you about, he comes with a certain aggressive side to him as well, and that is going to be a new transition for the Indian team, given how Rahul Dravid was, the calm and composed, demeanor that he had. So how do you think that is going to be an exciting challenge for the youngsters especially?
You're right, Karishma. From Gary Kirsten to Rahul Dravid and now Gautam Gambhir, people say that he can lose his temper fine, but he can also go to the room in the evening and speak to the player. He is a good motivator. And I've seen him play for Delhi when he led the team to 2 Ranji Trophy titles. Very, very difficult it was. And even then he used to pick players. So if you remember, he would fight with take it up with the selectors and fight for his boys. And the same thing he's going to do here.
He is an example.
Exactly. And he has a knack of identifying talent. So I won't be surprised if he does well.
Right. Let's take this across to some of our panelists from outside. Let me bring in Amey Khurasia on that note. Amey Khurasia, there's several who've actually praised Gautam Gambhir's style. There's been Dale Steyn, Shahid Afridi, Jacques Kallis, and have all said that this aggressive approach is perhaps going to benefit the team. Motivation is one aspect that Vijay Lokapally talks about. Where do you stand on this?
Well, I think the most important challenge that he'll have is Test match series. It's not about the 50-over game I'm talking about, neither 20-over I'm talking about. But the longer version will be very important because he has to understand one thing. In a longer version, he has to wear a hat? Is he a player-focused guy or is a coach-focused guy? So if he has to be a player-focused person in longer version, because the point is, these players come from various backgrounds and it's never easy to permeate into them that easily. And a lot of them will be new lads. A lot of them don't have much of an experience in terms of their playing career. So it will not be an easy task for him. But yes, with the past record that he has, with the past performance that he has as a coach, but in T20 format, he has been an outstanding performer. He has that ability to get that metamorphosis and get something out of players. But the point is, at times the game will wriggle out of its standard definition and show its own caprice. And that's where he has to understand that he has to maintain his cool and calm, because that's a hallmark of a good coach.
Right. Let's put that across to Sanjay Bharadwaj, who has a very interesting role as Gautam Gambhir's childhood coach. Now, you've seen Gautam Gambhir as a player, and of course, the whole country knows his performance. And even as a captain, he's been reasonably successful in both the formats. But Sanjay Bharadwaj, as a coach, टेम्परामेंट को लेके सवाल उठ रहे हैं. कई लोगों ने एग्रेसिव अप्रोच को प्रेज जरूर किया है, लेकिन इमीडिएट चैलेंज क्या रहेगा? डू यू एग्री विद अमेक खुरसिया, हु सेज दैट देयर आर मोमेंट्स व्हेन द कोच आल्सो हैज टू बी द एंकर, हैज टू कीप द टीम टुगेदर?
एक्चुअली क्या कि गौतम गंभीर को मैं 10 जब साल का था तब से पहला उसका बैट मैं खरीद के लेके आया था. जब वो 10 साल का 5th क्लास में था, तब से मेरी और उसकी जर्नी शुरू है. तो वो तब से चैलेंज लेता है. उसने कभी भी हार बर्दाश्त नहीं की है. और जो इस तरह का जो चैलेंज लेता है, वो अपनी प्लानिंग करता है. आप ये देखिए कि उसने अंडर 19 की लास्ट विकेट थी और 150 रन पंजाब के साथ चेज करने थे. तो उसने कहा सर मैं जीत के दिखाऊंगा. उसने 149 रन बनाए. दूसरी तरफ विवेक खुराना एक लड़का था, उसने 99 बॉल पे 1 रन बनाया. तो उसको चैलेंज एक्सेप्ट करना आता है. और वो आपको मैं थोड़ी सी अंदर की बात बता दूं, वो केकेआर छोड़ के दिल्ली के लिए आया था, दिल्ली कैपिटल के लिए, कि मुझे दिल्ली को जितवाना है, क्योंकि उसको दिल्ली से बहुत ज्यादा वो है कि मुझे जितवाना है, उसको रणजी ट्रॉफी जितवानी है, वो अपनी क्लब की टीम को जितवाना है. उसके अंदर ये भावना रही है कि मुझे जीतना है. और दूसरा क्या है कि वो ये कहता है, यानी जब भी उस मैच होता था कहता है सर मैं अकेला हूं, साथ में मुझे कोई भी लड़के दे दो, मैं उनसे अपना बेस्ट करके करवा लूंगा, उनसे बेस्ट उनका ले लूंगा और उनको कर लूंगा. आप देखो सुनील नारायण को उसने 3 महीने पहले कह दिया कि भैया मैंने आपसे बॉलिंग नहीं चाहिए, मुझे आपसे बैटिंग चाहिए, आप अपनी बैटिंग प्रैक्टिस करके आना. तो वो अलग तरह का वो है. और लोगों सबको लगता है बहुत एग्रेसिव है. गौतम गंभीर को मैं जानता हूं, वो बच्चा है. यानी आप सोच नहीं सकते, जब भी हम कहीं कोई रिलीजियस टूर पे जाते हैं, कहीं भी कुछ होते हैं, वो इतने प्रेम से रहता है और इतना यारों का यार है. और जतिन ज्यादा जानते होंगे उसको कि वो उनके साथ काम करता है शुरू से. जब से वो छोटा गौतम था तब से जतिन ने काफी उसको किया, उसके इंटरव्यू किए. तो बहुत अलग तरह का वो दिखने में बाहर सोशल मीडिया पे वो दिखता है, पर जब आप उसको बाहर देखेंगे ना, आप सोच नहीं सकते कितना पोलाइट आदमी.
Okay, I think since Jatin's name has been taken, we should be fair and give Jatin a chance, and he's all smiles right now. Jatin, छोटा गौतम?
नहीं, इतना भी छोटा नहीं. वो संजय सर बात कर रहे हैं, हम गौतम के साथ साथ सर की एकेडमी के बाहर दही बल्ले खाने ज्यादा जाते थे. अच्छा. but warm just regards to all the fellow panelists. A lot of our senior journalists are there from जिनसे बहुत कुछ हमने सीखा है. So just warm regards to all of them. To stand up for your teammate is not being aggressive. To stand up for what is right is not being aggressive. To call a spade is not being aggressive. Gautam Gambhir does not hide his emotions. I don't think it's a matter of being aggressive or not. This is the same Gautam Gambhir who buckled down and played hours and hours in Napier when he was happy. You know, what are we talking? We're talking about an aggressive personality. Aggressive personality can also buckle down when there is a need of the hour. What I know most of Gautam Gambhir is that he never minces his words. He has full commitment towards together everybody achieves more. That's what team stands for him. It's a name on the front of the jersey, more important than the name at the back of the jersey for Gautam Gambhir. And he just does not take anything quietly sitting down. But outside of it, the way Sanjay sir also said, all I think of Gautam Gambhir whenever his name is taken is somebody who's constantly smiling and laughing, sometimes on the same joke 20 times, 30 times. He is soft-hearted. He's kind to everyone. He's an absolute team player, even in broadcast. The only thing is, Gautam Gambhir does not hide his emotions.
All right. Interesting.
And Madhav, I want to get Gulu Ezekiel on this. We are talking about Gautam Gambhir, the coach, and I think one important aspect is going to be his relationship with the players, with the seniors especially. And one player that comes to mind is Virat Kohli for various reasons. We've seen what has happened on the field, but they've also hugged after that. They have made up after that. Do you think this player-coach relationship will help them mend their relationship as well?
Well, one certainly hopes so, because after all, the bigger picture is there with the Indian team. So, but you know, talking about the players and his equation, perhaps one concerning factor which Gautam, I'm sure, is very well aware of, is that he was till very recently a teammate of many of these players. Now, to go from being a teammate to a coach who is basically the boss of the team in that sense, that is something that is going to be tricky. We all know that Gautam is a tough guy. I mean, that's his image at least. So, is he going to be able to compromise? Is he going to be able to build bridges with not only Virat but others who he's played with, he's played against in the IPL? I think that is going to be the litmus test for him, not only as a coach but as a man management person. And at the end of the day, a coach of a test side is not there to teach the players how to play strokes or bowl. He's there for man management skills. And that's where Gautam, he will be tested. I mean, hearing his coach and others, I know that he is a determined person and that he is well aware of his challenges ahead. Right. But I would pinpoint this specific issue as the most challenging for him.
Let me bring in Ajay Ratra on that, because Ajay Ratra, there's another side to this. Of course, there are challenges, but there's also a difference in approach. You have, Dravid and Gambhir, who have about 8 years of difference between them. Of course, he may have played with some of these players, but others will say perhaps he's also closer in terms of thinking how these players think. So it could perhaps benefit also if you look at it from that perspective. Ajay.
माधव, और आई थिंक अभी जिस तरह का रिलेशनशिप होता है अभी वैसे वाला नहीं है लाइक हमारे टाइम की अगर बात करें 15-20 साल पहले, देयर वाज सो मच डिफरेंस बिटवीन ए प्लेयर और कोच. अभी तो ऑलमोस्ट टू सेम लाइन पे. ऑफ कोर्स कोचेस हैव देयर रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ द प्लेयर्स, बट मुझे लगता है उतना डिफरेंट नहीं. और आजकल दोस्त बन के काम करवाना और आई थिंक बहुत ज्यादा बेनिफिशियल होता है. यू हैव बीन टॉकिंग अबाउट मैनेजमेंट थिंग्स एंड ऑल. एंड जहां तक गौतम के एग्रेशन की बात है, बहुत अग्रेसिव है. और आपको क्या लगता है, राहुल द्रविड़ अग्रेसिव नहीं था? ही वाज वेरी अग्रेसिव इन हिज ओन वे. मे बी दे हैव अ डिफरेंट स्टाइल ऑफ डूइंग थिंग्स. गौतम की एक बात बहुत खास है क्योंकि आई हैव ही इज फ्रॉम माय बैच ओनली. वी हैव प्लेड अंडर 16 ऑल टुगेदर. इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, मेरा हरियाणा और उसका दिल्ली का जो अंडर 16 विजय मर्चेंट का डेब्यू सर्विसेज ग्राउंड में हुआ था सेम. सो वी हैव बीन इन द सेम बैच. एनसी में हम इकट्ठे थे एंड वी हैव स्पेंड लॉट ऑफ टाइम टुगेदर. ओएनजीसी में भी एक बात उसको खास बनाती है कि वो जो चीज सोचता है ठीक है, उसके लिए वो फाइट बहुत करता है. समटाइम्स आउट ऑफ द वे जाके भी. अब देयर आर डिफरेंट वेज ऑफ सीइंग दैट. अब परसेप्शन हो सकती है कि वो ज्यादा फाइट कर लेता है, बट यू विल सी दैट वे कि उसको जो ठीक लगता है. देयर आर फ्यू ओकेजन्स, मुझे ध्यान है जब हम नॉर्थ जोन के लिए खेल रहे थे देवदत्त ट्रॉफी में, कैसे अपने टीममेट के लिए वो स्टैंड करता था. किसी अपोनेंट ने अगर किसी बॉलर को छेड़ा, उसमें उसका रोल नहीं है. ही वाज स्टैंडिंग मे बी पॉइंट्स, मे बी थर्ड मैन, बट वहां से आके वो जो टीममेट के लिए फाइट करता था, वो एक खास बात है. मुझे लगता है कि अगर किसी को जरूरत है और उसके लिए कोई अगर खड़ा होता है, एंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस ऑल्सो ही हैज बीन कैप्टनिंग फॉर क्वाइट सम टाइम, दिल्ली के लिए, केकेआर के लिए, तो वो काफी एक्सपीरियंस उनके पास है. एंड ऑफ कोर्स चैलेंज तो किसी भी कोच के लिए होगा, वो गौतम के लिए भी है. क्या वो राहुल द्रविड़ के लिए चैलेंज नहीं था? क्या वो अनिल कुंबले के लिए नहीं था? या रवि शास्त्री के लिए नहीं था? तो चैलेंज तो डेफिनेटली आप इंडियन टीम के अगर कैप्टन, प्लेयर या कोच है, तो वो हम सब चैलेंज बना भी देंगे, क्योंकि देयर आर सो मच फैन फॉलोइंग, इतना कुछ टेक पे होता है, आपकी हर मूवमेंट को इतना मॉनिटर किया जाता है. एंड आई होप कि वो गौतम वो चैलेंज को बहुत अच्छे से करेंगे.
Madhav, I want to bring in Jatin Sapru again. He was there in Barbados. He saw the team winning the World Cup. Jatin, we saw the celebrations there. The entire team and the management was also celebrating. And the BCCI Secretary Jay Shah 2 days later made an official statement announcing Rohit as the captain for ODI and Tests as well. Do you see Indian team tinkering with the players a lot? Do you see 3 separate teams in all formats, or do you see some few common names in all formats?
I think as it stands, a few common names in all formats. We're not talking about people of 40 plus. We're talking about people who are in solid form as displayed in the shortest format. People committed to the WTC cycles. People who took India to the final of the previous 50 over World Cup. And I think only in the next 6, 8, 10 months with a 50 over big tournament like the Champions Trophy there, with the World Test Championship final coming out, I think over the next 12 odd months, things will get clearer. What's the focus, what's the line of thinking that Gautam Gambhir and the new think tank will have. But as it stands, you're talking about stalwarts of the game who are still in their prime, who are still doing very well, and have in fact giving themselves more breathing space to be well prepared for the 2 slightly more rigorous formats. So they must be in a great mental state. The place that they're at, Rohit Sharma, that euphoria, Virat Kohli, that euphoria, having bid one format goodbye after that high. And I'm pretty sure that this feel-good factor will carry on. And we're talking about 2 stalwarts in the longer formats of the game with still a lot left to achieve. That's off the game with still a lot left to achieve.
Right. And Arun Pandey, where do you stand on this? Because, there's a lot of talk about possibility of 3 different teams for all the formats. And the way forward is perhaps for the younger players to be more in T20. Several players have indicated how they've, because they've been playing T20, they would rather focus on that format. And of course, temperaments also perhaps are different when it comes to different players. Do you see that being a reality in coming years?
First of all, I want to give my regard to all the seniors, because I think we have seen all people since last 30 odd years, so they are senior to me. So respect to everyone, and hi to Jatin bhai. And first I want to bring light on subject of Gautam Gambhir. In anything, process is very important. What we can see Indian team today is all about process. How in last 10-15 years, how Indian cricket team played cricket was important. And we are talking about Gautam. Every individual character is different. They come from, they bring emotion differently. Their character are different. So, we should not have concern about their character, how they express themselves, how they take, because everyone aim is to win matches. Either you are aggressive or not aggressive. So I think we should not think about being aggressive, because the kind of person Gautam is, we know that. Even Ajay was telling about ONGC. So we played lots of matches against each other, ONGC Airlines, and we saw Gautam reaction even in that tournament matches, how he was so involved in that match. So in match, his role is how to win. So I agree with Jatin that he play for front name. He don't play what is backside.
What is happening in the back?
So entire team, he knows how to take team forward, and he believe in process. And that's why what he achieved. So first let me clarify this, and I want to give my input in that, and I want to give satisfaction to Gulu and Vijay bhai that we should not be having any doubt or concern on our coach, such as achievers like Jatin and Ajay mentioned. And second, you asked about having 3 different coaches. So
3 different teams. 3 different teams.
3 different
for the 3
teams.
formats.
So 3 different team and 3 different captain also.
Well, possibly. If there are 3 different teams, it's possibilities there that there can be 3
It's too
different
early to even think of, because we we are raising this question because we are thinking about other teams.
I think Gautam ने भी बोला है ये. Gautam ने भी कई जगहों पे he has said this.
He has said
there
it
is a
in his
possibility. Interviews में कहा है Gautam ने. That's why this question is relevant.
I mean, we should wait for his decision and then we should comment on that because I mean he know how to take player forward and how to take game forward.
Right.
So I'm with him that if he take decision and he want to take different team for different segments.
Okay.
I mean,
But the one thing that everyone has been talking about is the relationship between Virat, the role that Virat has played as far as Gautam is concerned, and of course the equations on and off the field. Let's quickly bring up the next statistic because this is an interesting report that we saw a short while ago, which spoke about the Cricket Advisory Committee unanimously recommending Gambhir's name. We can bring up the next aspect that was brought up in this. They say that Virat Kohli was not consulted. Perhaps he doesn't need to be consulted also, is what many would say, by the BCCI when it came to Gautam Gambhir's selection. With Virat Kohli retiring from T20 international matches, BCCI wanted to look into the future as well. This is the information coming in. Pandya among the few players who were consulted before the naming of Gambhir as coach. Now, all of this is, of course, as far as the formal part of it, Vijay, is concerned. But in terms of the actual equation, we've seen, the on-field fracas that has happened. We've seen what happened in Sri Lanka, for instance, when it came to, Gautam Gambhir. How is this really going to manifest? Because it's been blow hot, blow cold. They've played together. Now the coach equation and the friction that has arisen. Of course, now I believe things are in a much better position than they were compared to what we saw on camera. What's your assessment? What would your wager be in terms of how things will function, whether they will be smooth from here on?
Madhav, before I answer this, let me make one thing very clear. The difference between Gautam Gambhir and Rahul Dravid as a coach. Dravid's career, if you see, as a player, he began from 16, 19, India A, then India. And as a coach, under 19, India A, and then the senior team. So he was the real subject of trying to understand a process, which is Rahul Dravid, not Gautam Gambhir. He just landed into the Indian dressing room as coach. So he will have many challenges, yes, but like everybody has been saying, I will accept Jatin knows him much more in the last 5, 6, 10, 8 years. Ratra has played with him. Amit Khurasi is a seasoned commentator. And Sanjay, I've known him for a long time. But when you come to this question of the aggression between or how the relationship will pan out, once Virat or anyone for that matter, once you enter the ground, you don't think about the coach. You have to think about your performance. It's your own reputation, and you have a certain character to maintain. Same Gautam, he will not hold anything against Virat Kohli. I know that. Once they are in the same dressing room, they'll probably go out for a dinner before a game and sort it out how to go about the job next day. But there will be, at some point, there will be fireworks. I know that in the dressing room, and it's good if it helps the team, let it be, but it's not going to be as smooth as we are imagining.
Okay, it's not going to be as smooth. Amit Khurasi, what's your wager on this? This is, of course, Vijay Lokapally, who's covered the sport for decades. I see many smiles on the screen on the panel as well, but Amit Khurasi, what's your wager on that? Yes.
Well, anything coming out of Vijay Bhai's lips have a lot of value because he has been a very experienced guy. But coming back to the point, yes, I think one thing is very common between Virat and Gautam, and that is both are probity personified. Both are very honest guys, and both are very passionate for the nation to win. And once you have this common factor, which is the trust factor, this is the most important thing that a coach can have with his players. So as far as threading the needle is concerned, Gautam will do that. But the point is, I will think the opposite way. I'm sure Virat will come as a great help to Gautam in many issues because deep down, both are very, very committed and sincere people, and they have come the hard way. They have not come the soft way. So I will say this will not be a handy pack. This will be a handy knack.
Okay, very interesting. Not a handicap, but a handyman. Jatin Sapru, a lot of alliteration.
I said handy knack.
Okay, all right. Stand corrected there. But Jatin Sapru, process versus parachute, where do you stand?
I mean, firstly, I'd just like to say, Vijay sir, you don't have to accept anything that I say. You're way too senior. You don't have to accept anything that I say, sir. You and Gulu sir, whatever you say is almost sacrosanct to a lot of us youngsters, and you know these guys way more than we do, despite the access that we've had in recent times. But like Gulu sir also said that, and I agree, I was talking about Gautam's demeanor, about that aggression, what I think that aggression is, but in terms of challenges, there are going to be challenges. Lots of challenges. I mean, even if we just talk about the longest format, it's going to be transition maybe at number 3, 5, grooming a vice captain, grooming for the captain for the future, winning everybody's trust. What are his takes, on having whether a white ball separate setup and a red ball separate setup, or is it test in ODIs and T20 separate? So obviously there is a lot to look out for over the next 4 or 5 years. But on the subject, just like Amir also brought up, we shouldn't forget the fact that Virat and Gautam are basically birds of the same feather. And now they're going to be flocking together and coming together for a common cause, which is to ensure that India stays ahead, no matter what the format, no matter where they're playing. I think, and you've seen enough signs of that in the recent past. I think 2 of them have served Indian cricket to a great extent. And maybe while we're airing this show on air, maybe they've already had a conversation and made a dinner plan.
Madhav, I want to ask a question to Mr. Sanjay Bhardwaj. Sir, आपसे जानना चाहूंगी, गौतम गंभीर की हम बात कर रहे हैं. आज हमने अक्षर पटेल से भी बात की. वो काफी एक्साइटेड थे. वो कह रहे थे कि न्यू माइंडसेट लेकर आएंगे गौतम गंभीर, एक एक्साइटमेंट लेकर आएंगे. तो अगर आप थोड़ा हमें बता सकते हैं कि टॉप 2-3 चीजें क्या होंगी जो गौतम गंभीर आते ही प्रायोरिटी पर करना चाहेंगे इंडियन टीम में. काफी जल्दी उनकी मीटिंग भी होने वाली है सारे प्लेयर्स के साथ.
मैं आपको ये बता रहा हूँ, एज ए कोच बता रहा हूँ आपको, वहां पर हमें मैन मैनेजमेंट चाहिए और गौतम गंभीर के अंदर वो चीज है. अब अमय खुरसिया जी और रत्रा, ये इंडिया खेले हैं, कितनी मुश्किल से वहां पहुंचे हैं, और वो एक फिसलन वाली जगह है. तो गौतम गंभीर वहां बच्चों को फिसलने नहीं देगा. यानी वहां जो कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल है, वहां जाने के बाद भी आपका ये रहता है कि कभी मैं इस मैच में रन नहीं बनाऊं तो कभी मैं टीम से बाहर हो जाऊं. इनसिक्योरिटी जो होती है जो प्लेयर्स में, वो चीज गौतम गंभीर नहीं आने देगा किसी भी प्लेयर में. ये और जिस प्लेयर में इनसिक्योरिटी की भावना खत्म कर दी गौतम गंभीर ने, और वो उसी से वो परफॉर्मेंस लेगा. और यही है गौतम गंभीर के अंदर. मैं जब से उसको मैंने देखा है, वो मैन मैनेजमेंट, उसको पता है कि ये लड़का मेरे लिए कितना काम कर सकता है, ये मेरे लिए कितना काम कर सकता है. और वहां पर आपको बैकफुट फ्रंट फुट नहीं सिखाना, आपको अपने जो प्लेयर्स हैं उनका कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल बढ़ा कर रखना है, उनमें सेल्फ बिलीफ पैदा करके रखना है कि तुम 15 लोगों में आए हो, 140 करोड़ में तुम हो, और तुम्हें मैं फिसलने नहीं दूंगा, मैं तुम्हें पूरी कोशिश करूंगा. और यही जो एवरेस्ट पे चढ़ के वो फिसलने नहीं देगा, यही गौतम गंभीर है जो वो इस तरह की चीजें करेगा. क्योंकि वो उसके अंदर ये क्वालिटी है, मैंने देखी है. उसने कितने ऐसे प्लेयर हैं, यूसुफ पठान को वो लेके आया, उमेश यादव को लेके आया, कुलदीप यादव को लेके आया, सैनी को लेके आया. कितने ऐसे प्लेयर हैं जिनको वो नीचे से उठा के लेके आया. और यही क्वालिटी इंसान में होनी चाहिए, लीडर में वही क्वालिटी होनी चाहिए जो उसमें 50% है तो वो 60-70% निकाल ले. ये नहीं है कि उसमें 50% है वो 20% का रह जाए. तो मैं ये कहूंगा कि गौतम गंभीर को मैं बचपन से जानता हूं, बहुत दिखने में लगता है लोगों को अग्रेसिव है, ये है, वो यारों का यार है, दोस्तों का दोस्त है. अगर आप आज भी, और कोई उसकी, विराट कोहली को पहला जो मैन ऑफ द मैच था उसने अपना दिया था, वो अलग तरह की वो है, उसको मनाना आता है. अपने वो जो दिखते हैं बाहर, जो लोग दिखाते हैं, वो गौतम गंभीर नहीं है.
Okay, so he also knows how to mend fences. I think that's the important message coming out of that. Gulu Ezekiel, you agree with that? Because, when one is a player, when one is a captain, there's a different approach. Once you're the coach, then you have a slightly more mature and more responsible role to play. So do you think those skills that, Mr. Bhardwaj is talking about, somewhere will manifest as far as Gautam's performance is concerned?
You see, the coach, I think, understands Gautam's psyche better than anybody else. Because he's seen him from the time he first picked up a cricket bat. Of course, people change. People mature, people develop over the years. Now, the other thing is that what is the public persona of a cricketer or a sports person or a celebrity is not always the same as the private persona. So we have seen on all our television screens Gautam taking on players, opponents in IPL, in test matches. But whether that will be the situation when he's actually the coach of the Indian team, that's something that we cannot predict. I mean, there's obviously going to be a lot of egos at play. I mean, you have superstars in the Indian team. Gautam himself is a superstar. Let's not forget he was top run scorer both in the World T20 final and the 50-over final. So are they going to be able to put the egos aside and focus on the bigger picture? It's impossible to predict at this stage. However well we may know a person, when it comes to a crunch situation, how that person will react is something that we can only wait and see. It's not something that can be predicted as far as I can see.
Right.
Madhav, there's a very interesting talking point as far as Gautam Gambhir is concerned, and I want to bring Jatin Sapru on it. Jatin, do you see a KKR effect on Team India? We've reported that he's asked for Abhishek Nair as the batting coach. Of course, there's a toss-up between Zaheer Khan and L. Balaji for the bowling coach. We are expecting Shreyas Iyer to return from the Sri Lanka series. So do you see a KKR effect on the Indian team?
I'm sure it's trending everywhere, but I'll tell you what, I'm loving my vacation after Barbados. I'm sitting in Goa. It's raining outside. It's green. And as per reports, is not my favorite thing to like. That is Gautam Gambhir's decision. It's Gautam Gambhir's decision. I'll tell you the thing that I noticed with KKR, having done interviews with Venkatesh Iyer, having done interviews with Rinku, Nitish Rana through the season. And when we asked them what has changed, they're like, it made a huge difference with Gautam Gambhir and Chandrakant Pandit both being there. And Venki Iyer, especially, I remember in one interview, was all praise. So there is something, and like Sanjay sir said, it is about man management. Let's be honest, it is going to be about man management. We're talking about the elite most athletes who probably just need those half percenters, 1%ers. There is going to be a batting coach. There is going to be a bowling coach. For the head coach, it's going to be about man management. I know it's very interesting because of Gautam's persona to talk about what's going to happen in the Indian dressing room.
Yeah.
But I'm most excited to see what's the brand of cricket Indian team plays. Right. I mean, the last most recent coach that joined the international bandwagon was Brendan McCullum. And Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes decided to join hands and just change the style of play. I want to see what happens now when India plays Test cricket. When we go down to Australia, are we going for results? Are we changing? What's the sort of brand of cricket? What different does Gautam Gambhir and Rohit Sharma or the other leadership group brings about? I honestly find all these things very exciting because a coach who's very recently a player is now in T20I dugouts. As of course, like Vijay sir said, he's not come through the system of under-19, of India A, of NCA, but he's come from recent understanding of cricket, the flavor in dugouts, in dressing rooms. And I'm most excited to see what happens there on the field with how India play.
Quickly bring up a next set of slides and data that we are talking about, because this is going to be in terms of how the follow-up will be as far as the performances of Rohit Sharma, one of the most successful, if not the most successful captain who has played for India. The matches played are 54, 1 are 41. That's a massive statistic with a win percentage of close to 76%. He's just lost 12 of those 54 matches played. In fact, Hardik Pandya played in 16 matches, won 10, lost 5, tied. He's also got a very good win rate of 62.5. Virat Kohli played in 50 matches as captain, won 30, lost 16, tied 2. So that's a win percentage of 60%. MS Dhoni, now here's the big one, because he's played perhaps the largest number of matches, 72, won 41, lost 28, tied 1, and in terms of the win percentage, also at 56.9%. Not a bad rate as far as the wins are concerned. But Dhoni, of course, had a huge role to play in terms of, what India and India's own performance was. And Arun, you come in on this because, the role of MS Dhoni at that point of time is what India needed, is what many say, because he brought in a lot of, aggression. He brought in a very different approach. But now as we go on, Aage Jake, how do you see the role? Because the challenge for Hardik, the challenge for whoever's going to be heading the ODI side is going to be to outperform Rohit Sharma, because that's one performance which perhaps लोग कह सकते हैं dream performance है एक तरीके से. आप इसे कैसे देखते हैं?
So, बहुत अच्छा आपने डेटा दिखाया है। ये जो परफॉर्मेंस देख रहे हैं वो दिखा रहा है कि अभी टीम खेलना शुरू कर दी है। वी आर नॉट डिपेंडेंट ऑन इंडिविजुअल नाउ। सभी का परफॉर्मेंस है। एक मैच में ऐसा नहीं होता है कि हमारे दो ओपनर चल रहे हैं तो नीचे के नहीं चल रहे हैं। अभी आपने देखा होगा कि एवरीवन इज परफॉर्मिंग, सभी परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, टीम परफॉर्म कर रही है। तो टीम जो यूनाइट हुई है, कैसे हुई है, आप देखो 2007 में जो हम वर्ल्ड कप जीते थे, सारे यंग थे और सबके मन में था कि हमें डिफरेंट करना है। अभी आप इस वर्ल्ड कप में देखो, अभी जो लास्ट के 5 वर्ल्ड कप है हमने खराब नहीं किया है। वी ऑलवेज प्लेड फाइनल, इधर वी प्लेड फाइनल। विनिंग फाइनल एंड लूजिंग फाइनल इज मैटर ऑफ डे। मतलब उस दिन हमने क्रिकेट कैसी खेली है, विजय सर और जी बताएंगे कि वो उस पर डिपेंड करता है। बट इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि हमारी क्रिकेट खराब हुई है। द अमाउंट ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस हार्दिक एंड रोहित, वी कैन सी द विनिंग परसेंटेज शोज इंडियन क्रिकेट कहाँ से कहाँ पहुंच गई है। अभी हम रूल कर रहे हैं, इंडियन क्रिकेट डोमिनेट कर रही है वर्ल्ड क्रिकेट में। सो विच इज वेरी एक्साइटिंग। आई एम सो हैप्पी सीइंग दिस, क्योंकि जब अभी जो कंसर्न है कि टीम डिपेंडेंसी थी पहले प्लेयरों पे, कुछ प्लेयरों पे होती थी। अभी आप देखो जिस तरीके से जडेजा, अक्षर, बाहर बैठा हुआ जो चहर था, वो भी मतलब चहल, वो भी मतलब वो
कंट्रीब्यूशन है उनका, भी एक कंट्रीब्यूशन है।
एग्जैक्टली, आई मीन एवरीवन वाज कंट्रीब्यूटिंग इनसाइड। एंड जो बाहर बैठे थे वो कम नहीं थे, वो भी आई मीन वो परफॉर्म करते उनकी जगह, तो वो भी खेलते तो वो भी परफॉर्म करते। सो मतलब कि टीम यूनिटी और एक दूसरे के लिए फ्रेंडली इक्वेशन तो वो चलता है। और वो मुझे लगता है कि चूंकि गौतम इस टीम में खेला हुआ और प्लेयरों को अच्छे से जानता है, तो वो हेल्प करेगा। और जो एमएस और गौतम ने दोनों की एक चीज सबसे अच्छी है, ऑनेस्टी। सभी ऑनेस्ट है। और मैं हार्दिक के बारे में बताना चाहता हूं कि हार्दिक ने बहुत टाइम स्पेंड किया है धोनी के साथ में। जो क्रिकेट का प्रोसेस है, जब पहला मैच खेला हार्दिक ने, तब से प्रोसेस जो है क्रिकेट का चेंज हुआ है, काफी चेंज किया है हार्दिक ने। क्योंकि काफी और ये क्रिकेटर के अंदर से आता है। ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको मैं जबरदस्ती मैं बुला सकूं अपने पास में, वो आपके अंदर से आता है। सो ये प्लेयर के अंदर से आता है कि उसको कैसे स्टिक करना है अपनी जगह पे,
इंस्पायर करना है एक तरीके से।
इंडिया खेलना जितना टफ है उतना उससे ज्यादा टफ है सस्टेन करना। तो सस्टेन करने के लिए व्हाट ऑल रिक्वायर, वो उसके लिए लीडरशिप बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है कि गौतम सिर्फ ये नहीं देखेगा परफॉर्मेंस हम जीत रहे हैं, वो उनको सिक्योर करेगा, उनको मैच्योर बनाएगा, उनको अपब्रिंगिंग, बच्चों की अपब्रिंगिंग सिर्फ क्रिकेट से नहीं होती है, मेंटल अपब्रिंगिंग भी होती है। सो बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो लेके आएगा, जो मैंने लास्ट 15 साल में चेंज देखा है एमएस के साथ में। और गौतम ने बहुत बड़ा रोल अदा किया है उसमें। गौतम आप देखो गौतम का जो रोल रहा है, हमने जितने भी फाइनल खेले हैं, जो एमएस ने फाइनल जो जिताए हैं, उन सारे फाइनल को उठा के देख लो आप, उसमें गौतम का परफॉर्मेंस देखो आप। तो गौतम ने की रोल अदा किया। तो लेकिन गौतम हमेशा कभी भी प्रेज नहीं करता है या कभी नहीं, टीम ने परफॉर्म किया। और हमेशा मुझे लगता है कि हार्दिक को बहुत फायदा मिलने वाला है, क्योंकि गौतम का और जो हार्दिक का जो अग्रेशन है ना, वो बड़ा हेल्प करेगा।
It's going to be a very deadly combination, is what Arun Pandey is trying to say here. But I want to go to Ajay Ratra next. So I want to talk about the Champions Trophy. The Indian team is not, of course, going to travel to Pakistan because there are security concerns. It has been reported. And Gautam Gambhir is someone who's been very vocal about his opinions about, traveling to Pakistan or the terrorism that is there in Pakistan. Do you think there will be a way to balance his personal opinion and what the BCCI or the government of India decide in terms of playing versus Pakistan or traveling to Pakistan for ICC events?
See, Karishma, I feel that's our government's decision. If India government says that they can go, team should go, and if they deny it, I think उस पे तो I won't be commenting on that. But it's totally जो है India government का decision रहेगा. लेकिन अगर इंडिया टीम पार्टिसिपेट करती है, अब अगर वेन्यूज चेंज होते हैं या जो भी डायमेंशंस बनते हैं उस टूर्नामेंट के, तो इंडियन टीम जरूर चाहेगी कि जिस तरह से T20 अभी जीत के आए हैं और वर्ल्ड कप हमने बहुत नैरोली मिस किया लास्ट, तो इस टूर्नामेंट में सीनियर खिलाड़ी भी जो सब है अवेलेबल है, रोहित वुड बी लीडिंग जो ऑलरेडी डिक्लेयर कर दिया गया है, एंड दैट वुड बी अगेन, तो अच्छा टाइम चल रहा है, इंडियन टीम प्लेइंग रियली वेल. If they participate in that, India got a very, very good chance in that. India got a very, very good chance in that.
And in fact, I want to bring in Vijay on that, because Vijay, we've seen what's happened in the past. We've seen the experience of the Sri Lanka team. We've seen what's happened with the New Zealand team there when they were playing on ground in Pakistan. So certainly security is a massive, area of concern. But, BCCI is able to sort of, put its terms across and hold its own when it comes to the ICC, when it comes to other cricket playing nations, that look here, this is one area where we cannot travel for certain security reasons. And, that also goes to show the kind of heft. It's not something that's happened overnight recently, but perhaps over the years that BCCI is able to at least able to put its, players and their security as the paramount reason when it comes to such international fora. Because there are those who say, why even play Pakistan in such international fora? There is that view as well that is often expressed.
No, you'll have to play Pakistan if it is a team in international cricket. But here, let me tell you, Madhav, when it, like Ajay is absolutely right. I agree with him. Going to Pakistan is government decision, because you and I cannot understand the security part in Pakistan. They are the best judges. They are people who will, the intelligence will feed them with the right, information. So here, you cannot, we have been playing Pakistan when it comes to, you can always tell ICC, okay, we don't want to we don't want to be in the same group, but they are always put in the same group because it is the match to watch, whether in the league or in the final or knockout, whatever. So I think India-Pakistan cricket is good for international cricket as such, because if you look at teams like Sri Lanka, West Indies, they are collapsing. I mean, it's very difficult to get crowds to come and watch an India-West Indies match or an India-Sri Lanka match. It's an India-Pakistan game, yes. And teams like Australia, New Zealand again is struggling. They are not on the best of times. But I think one thing I would like to add to what Jatin was saying and Arun, see, when you play a knockout game, it's an art to win. Winning a knockout game is an art. Australians know it very well. Here they lost to India, fine, but they have the right mental strength to take on the opposition best in a do-or-die situation. And yes, I agree, India has been playing the finals, but still it's the first time they have, after 17 long years, they have learned to win a final. But otherwise,
showing the same mentality, showing that same fighting spirit of Australia, many would say, that final match.
Why not? Why not? I mean, they have been playing together in IPL. So, but again, Madhav, playing IPL and playing for the country is very, very different.
True.
Coaching IPL, coaching country is very different.
All right. Before we go across to other panels, our last set of slides and data that we're looking at, and this is Hardik's own track record in terms of his captaincy in a little more detail than we showed earlier. In T20s, the matches played at 16, 110, lost 5, tied 1. The win rate is 62.5%. If you can quickly bring the next slide on. In ODIs, it's matches played 3, 1, 2, lost 1, tied 0. The win rate here is 66.66%. And of course, if we can bring some more, the next. All right, this is the IPL track record, yes, that we are looking at. In terms of Gujarat, matches played 31, 122, lost 9, tied 0, and win rate here even better at 70.97, almost 71. In Mumbai, matches played are 14, 1-4, lost 10, tied 0, win here at 28.57%, much lower than Gujarat, of course. And overall, this is the score. It is at 57.78%. Total matches played 45, 126. Lost 19. So, Gulu, if I can bring you in on this, it's a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to IPL, but when it comes to his performance, as far as T20 is concerned, it's been fairly satisfactory, one can say, in terms of the late 60s is the total number that we're looking at. What do you look at as Hardik's challenge as captain if he does take this job full-time from here on, as of course has been announced now?
You know that the previous season he had led Gujarat Titans to the title, but this year, because of all the controversy over the captaincy change in Mumbai Indians and how he was brought in suddenly, and all the pressure from the crowds and from social media, that definitely added to the pressure on him. But he has shown in this particular World Cup, I mean, for me, the biggest story was how he overcame all those difficulties and all those issues which were, continuously hounding him during the IPL. And he brought out his A game. He was just one of the most valuable players for India on the world stage. So as Vijay said, IPL and national team is a different cup of tea altogether. So I would not like to bring in his IPL record when it comes to the Indian team. And I certainly think he has the wherewithal, he has the talent, and he has the skill set to be a successful white ball captain.
Right.
Whether it's going to happen or not, whether it will be only 50 overs or 20 overs, we've got to see what the plans of the selectors and the board is. But I feel he's an ideal, he slots in perfectly into that role.
Right.
And we're talking about Hardik Pandya. He's been through an emotional roller coaster the last 6 months. Jatin Sapru, I want to bring you in. He was booed at Wankhede. His name was chanted at Wankhede. There can be no better way to answer your fans, your critics in the way that Hardik Pandya has done.
And to think of it, he didn't think that he's going to win a World Cup or going to give it all because he wants to answer anyone. I think beyond the point, it actually became really sad. It became, you felt that it's now a trend that's carrying on. You could understand what the Mumbai fans felt. You could understand what the Gujarat fans felt. But beyond the point, it felt like it's a trend that's going on, which is following Hardik. And to not respond, I think that was commendable. Because if anyone says that there are 40,000 people who twice every week are booing every second you step onto the field, while you've done extremely well till the year before in the IPL, and you've consistently done well in almost 95 to 100 T20 internationals for the country, it felt bad. It felt bad to almost everyone who was out there. I think it just shows the character, the grit, and just what Hardik Pandya is made of. I think it was one of the greatest redemption stories. And I'm hoping that the next time, that we can just probably balance our emotions and understand that at the end of the day, the human being within a jersey, whether you are for that jersey or you like another jersey, is a human and is part of your own country, is going to eventually be wearing the Indian jersey and going to be playing for India. So I'm hoping that something like this is not carried on, and there isn't another season like this, not for Hardik, for any other cricketer. And as a player, I mean, let's not forget, even in the 50-over World Cup, he had a freak injury while trying to save a ball when he was participating in that. India, of course, missed him after that in the 2023 World Cup. The balance of the team with Hardik Pandya and without Hardik Pandya is going to be very different. And like Gulu sir said, bringing in his IPL credentials, the 2 years that he had a team which he was slightly involved with in setting up, he had 2 very good years. When he got to Mumbai, it wasn't really a team that he had set. He had joined a team towards the end of the long auction process. But with Team India, he's going to take some time. I think this might be one of the challenges because with Virat now gone, Rohit now gone, and if India, focus on the longest format, say Jasprit Bumrah does not end up playing a lot of T20 cricket, Hardik will have a plethora of options which they would like to, try and settle down over the next 6, 8, 10 months before they come in on a team. So I won't look at these percentages. I won't really look at the win percentage over the next 8 to 10 months as India decides to zero in on the 15-17 pool that is going to go on and play the next T20 World Cup. But Hardik Pandya, I firmly believe, is an excellent choice in the shorter formats to take India forward.
Right. Let me bring in Amay on that, because Amay, notwithstanding the professional, the personal challenges, etc., that Hardik has gone to, he's someone, as Arun was describing earlier, who takes a lot of inspiration from Dhoni. And while Dhoni, of course, was such an inspiration for that generation of cricketers, do you think Hardik can actually be that inspiration for the next generation? Already an all-rounder, and of course the Indian team has several of them already who are there in the squad. What is the role that you see Hardik playing from here on?
Well, I think he has set an example. And if you see what Djokovic said the other day, well, you can boo me, you can jeer me, but you can't get me. I'm different. That's what he said, that you may have your recency biases, but your recency biases are not going to take over me. And whatever amount of tacky behavior which people showed, but then in the end he came out as a winner, and that's what winners are all about. That is called character. And I think this man, after a back injury, he has come back as a fast bowler, as a batsman, and he's an inspiration not to one but to many, because he has been out of the game for a very long time just because of injury. And back injuries to a fast bowler are a very, very serious thing. To come out of that itself shows that the guy has got a lot of metal in him.
Right.
Well, yes, and we are talking about Hardik Pandya, and one of the closest persons to Hardik Pandya we've seen is MS Dhoni, and that brings me to Mr. Arun Pandey. Sir, आपसे जानना चाहूंगी किस तरीके का एक relationship है हार्दिक पांड्या MS धोनी का, and what are the tips and advices, if any, that Hardik Pandya seeks from MS Dhoni, or what is it that he wants to imbibe from MS Dhoni?
So I think from very first match, उन दोनों के relationship हमेशा से बहुत अच्छा रहा. हार्दिक हमेशा से motivate होता था देख के उसको. So he used to come and sit with him, and he used to listen to him, and he used to observe how he behave, how he do things. फिर he started sharing his thought process. तो जब थॉट प्रोसेस शेयर करना शुरू किया तो उसको ह्यूमरस ढंग से धोनी ने ट्रीट करना शुरू किया, क्योंकि उसके लैंग्वेज में बात करना बहुत ज़रूरी था. क्योंकि यंगस्टर जब आता है तो आप एकदम से उसको स्टॉप नहीं कर सकते. कोई भाग रहा होता है, एकदम से रोकोगे तो गिर जाएगा वो. सो आपको उसके साथ पहले भागना पड़ता है. जब उसके साथ भागना शुरू करते हो फिर देन उसको स्लो कर सकते हो, तो उसके पेस में आना पड़ता है. तो वो इस जर्नी थी, बट उसमें मैं दोनों को कॉम्प्लीमेंट देता हूँ. वी स्पेंड गुड टाइम टुगेदर. सो उसमें अच्छी बात यह थी कि हार्दिक के अंदर झील था लर्न करने का, और उसको वो लर्न करता था, वो सीखता था कि क्या चेंजेस करने हैं. तो काफ़ी इंसिडेंट हैं ऐसे जहाँ पे वो डिसीजन लिया और अपने डिसीजन को चेंज किया. देख के बोला मैं ये करने रहा था बट मैं रुक गया, मैं कर रहा था बट मैं रुक गया. सो ये बड़ा कैरेक्टर शो करता है कि एक प्लेयर अपने यदि किसी चीज को चेंज कर सकता है,
right.
आप अपने आप अंदर चेंज ला सकते हो. तो वो बहुत बड़ा, वो कहते हैं कि आप स्पोर्ट हो, पर्सन हो, कोई चीज हो, उसमें आपको अपनी चीजें एक्सेप्ट करनी और चेंज लाना इंपॉर्टेंट होता है.
All right, we're out of time. In fact, sorry for interrupting you there, Arun Pandey, but completely out of time. It's been a fascinating discussion today. Various aspects of cricket that we've been discussing. Vijay Lokapally, Arun Pandey, Gulu Ezekiel, Amey Khurasia, Ajay Ratra, Jatin Sapru, and Sanjay Bharadwaj. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us and sharing with us your thoughts. From Karishma and me, it's a wrap on this special edition of the National Debate.